I'm Mona Freeman, speaking to you from the Schlitz Playhouse of Stars. In this week's show, I play a young lady who teaches a very stubborn engineer that the shortest distance between 2 points is the direct approach.
I am a peaceful man. I must take action. No matter how repulsive violence in any form may be to me personally. All military men are like that, Robert. Contrary to general opinion, we detest violence in any form. We are too accustomed to it.
But, General, you just can't go shooting at people like that.
Seems to me I did.
You can't stop progress. I've been trying to tell you that for 2 years, ever since the state authorized that project. No matter what you do, that bridge is going through.
I assure you they will go through my property only with decimated ranks.
But the state condemned that land. They took title to it.
A legal evasion.
Evasion. There is no such thing. Well, at least you do admit that it is legal. You can't stop them.
Well, I have for today.
You know, you don't need me. You don't need a lawyer at all. What you need is a bail bondsman.
Oh, cavalry word.
What does that mean, General? You use it all the time.
Cavalry word is a feeble substitute term for scurrility, to which I've been shamefully reduced by the women folk of my family.
Hello, Mr. Gregg.
Hello, Debbie. Debbie, will you talk some sense to your grandfather? You know what he did? He stood at that window.
I heard and I saw. General, you missed again. I don't think you lead them quite enough. You know, some people move faster than you think.
Oh, the fellow was safely out of range before I fired.
I'm beginning to feel like the princess in the tower. Now he drives men away with a shotgun.
Not men, surveyors. Cavalry word, civil servants. Trespassers.
Oh, you're both hopeless. I'm leaving. I'll be available in case of need. There'll be need. They're bound to send someone to investigate that shooting.
Don't you think you better quit this nonsense?
They forced this war on me. They invaded my borders.
Oh, you're having more fun than a retired old general deserves.
To quote the great von Clausewitz, a soldier is only as old as the battle requires of him.
I don't believe von Clausewitz said anything of the kind. I think you made the whole thing up.
My dear girl, I was appointed one of the youngest general officers in the Army. And part of the reason for my rapid rise was my ability to quote von Clausewitz in staff meetings.
Did you ever read him?
No, but I quote him fluently.
Debbie Hood, stop drooling. Just a minute. Hello. Won't you come in?
Thanks. I rang at the front. I guess your bell's out of order.
That's nice.
What is?
Oh, well, never mind. But if there's an aunt to my grandfather in me, you'll find out what I mean.
Well, I imagine it's your grandfather that I've come to see.
Oh, no. Oh, no, you're not from the
bridge crew.
Oh, now look. Just because we're on opposite sides, we don't have to be enemies. I'm not much on family loyalty, and, well, I could be a spy. They're very handy, you know.
Miss, you'd better tell your grandfather that I'm here.
Well, now look, you're passing up a great opportunity. They'd never suspect me.
Miss, your grandfather, please.
All right. I'll tell him you're here. Prospective Trader Hood reporting, sir. A deputation from the enemy is here.
Prospective traitor? What in thunder are you talking about? Oh, the type she always goes for.
I have met the enemy, and I'm his.
General, I'm Barney Wallace, chief engineer on the new bridge.
Chief engineer? Sounds very important. A man with a job like that could support a wife.
Debbie, please.
This morning, 2 of my men
Were skulking through my woods.
doing their job, surveying one of the bridge approaches when somebody took a shot at them.
Let us be accurate about this. I took a shot at them, and I trust I hit them in a tender spot. You never can be sure with a shotgun.
You do that again, and I'll swear out a warrant against you.
You keep your men off my property, and there will be no trouble.
General, the people of this town jump when you say frog. But we're going to build that bridge. It's going to spoil your view. It might even change this part of the country, but we are going to build that bridge. That's all, General.
You may go. A worthy adversary.
It's a lucky thing you didn't shoot him. You know, General, I'd like to be the heroine of a nice, simple romance. They got married and lived happily ever after, that sort of thing.
Debbie, I think you should stop that line of joking.
I'm not joking.
In a situation like this, love seeks its victims in the young.
The proper quotation is war seeks its victims in the young.
That was Sophocles. Von Clausewitz said it about love.
Can I warm it up for you, Debbie?
No thanks, Pete.
How's the general feeling, Debbie?
Oh, just fine. Say, Pete, what do you hear about the bridge?
Well, they've already set up the construction shack down near Leeds Landing.
I saw it on my drive in. What else?
The fishermen don't like 'em. They say when the pile driver starts working, it'll drive the shad away.
Well, they dredge up the channel every year. Shad always come back.
That's the way folks feel, though.
They say if them bridge guys start stirring up the bottom, it'll bring disease.
Wally Forbes already sold his house. So's Henderson.
They've wanted to sell their houses for years.
Which side are you on?
Oh, just sampling public opinion.
Tom Simpson's dead set against the bridge. He's been stirring people up.
Tom's too big for his boots.
He's got the biggest fishing fleet around these parts. I'd say Tom and the General was the town's 2 leading citizens.
He's still too opinionated and always has been.
Why, Debbie, I always thought you and Tom
That
were...
may be what you think, and that may be what Tom thinks, but that isn't what is. Isn't what is. It's almost as complicated as von Clausewitz. Hi, Constable.
You didn't put any money in the parking meter, Debbie, so I dropped in a nickel for you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Ordinarily, I wouldn't have bothered on a weekday, but just got through giving 2 of them bridge workers parking tickets.
Ooh, clamping down on them,
Better watch this step. We don't want them around here in the first place.
They say the bridge will bring the town more business.
We got all the business we want right now. Well, since I'm in here being derelict in my duty as constable, I'll have the usual.
Well, goodbye. See you later.
Bye, Debbie.
All right, Tom, quit your clown. I gotta go home.
Debbie.
Say, there's a dance at Centerville Saturday night.
Well, bully for Centerville.
Always got an answer. How about you be sassing me back 20 years after we're married?
You lose. I told you, we're never gonna get married.
Crazy about me?
Hides it mighty well.
Good morning. I made you some donuts. Thought you might like them. Well, men do like them, you know.
Thanks.
I've also been conducting a one-woman poll in the village, and you're not very popular.
So I've heard.
They say that when you start the pile driver, it'll scare the shad away.
Possible?
They also say that when you dredge the riverbed, it might bring disease.
Not possible.
You're not very talkative, are you?
No.
You're not talkative. You're not popular. Are you married?
Nope.
Well, the rest really doesn't matter, does it?
Would you care to inspect the job with me?
Oh, I'd love it.
What are you doing here?
Just paying a call if it's any of your business, and it isn't.
Paying a call, huh? Oh, I see. You in charge?
In the field here, yes.
I'm Tom Simpson. Came by to tell you we're not going to sit back and watch you destroy the fishing.
There are plenty of places to fish, and the bridge is going through.
While I'm here, I'll also tell you we're not going to stand for outsiders coming in dating our girls.
Look, we're trying to avoid trouble. I'll speak to the men.
You better speak to yourself. Get me?
Yeah, I think I do.
And don't you forget it.
You just stood there and let him tell you what to do.
Looks like.
Looks like is right.
Debbie, honey, what's been the matter with you this last week? That's the 5th time this morning I've heard you sigh.
I'm all right.
You're not mooning about that bridge building coot, are you?
Him? No.
Well, good. That young man will be leaving here very, very shortly.
Well, I don't care if he leaves as of yesterday. General, our family's always been Army, hasn't it?
The men on both sides of the family have always been United States Army.
Well, even if it had been the Salvation Army, I couldn't marry a man who wouldn't at least put up an argument for me.
Salvation Army. Wonder how she found out about Cousin Ed. Uh, 236, please. Mr. Gregg, please. General Hood calling. Ooh. Hello, Robert. So I couldn't stop progress, could I? Well, it may interest you to know that I have practically suspended operations on that blasted bridge. Oh, I put in a call or two to Washington. I'm not entirely without friends, you know. No, I have nothing in writing, no definite promise, of course, but a rather prominent politician has practically assured me. Hey, no, not your end, my end. What is it? What's going on here? What in thunder is happening?
I think they're blasting for the bridge.
Robert, ignore just what I told you. They seem to be going ahead with the bridge. Get a judge. Call out an MP corps. Do something. Oh.
Good evening. This is Bob Page for Schlitz. You know, I've often thought that every profession has a language all its own. Take a fellow who owns a diner like Pete's Lunchroom. He has a lingo that might need some interpretation. Take, for instance, an LTB down. That's a lettuce, tomato, and bacon sandwich on toast. Or combination seaboard. That's usually a ham and cheese combination, and the seaboard means it's to be taken out. But in any diner, tavern, or restaurant, when someone calls out the most famous taste in beer, that can only mean Schlitz, with its clean, light, dry taste, as mellow as a June moon, with never a sliver of harsh bitterness. So when your thirst calls out for a glass of the finest beer, call for Schlitz, and let your thirst feel the wonderful, refreshing difference. For no other beer, believe me, refreshes like Schlitz. And have you ever noticed Just saying the famous name Schlitz, how your tongue tingles with anticipation. You can almost taste the rich, soothing, cooling refreshment of this perfectly matchless beer. That's why people who like beer love Schlitz. So ask for Schlitz at your favorite tavern, restaurant, or neighborhood store and enjoy the most famous taste in beer, Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous. And now back to your Schlitz Playhouse of Stars.
I want you to get out one of those, whatchamacallums, an injunction.
Well, you can't do that.
Of course I can. What do you think you're here for? You're a lawyer, aren't you?
Sometimes I wonder.
You get out that injunction. Oh!
Cavalry word, General?
All the blasphemous language of the entire engineering corps.
Come in. What are you doing?
Wait a minute. Before you throw me out, just listen to what I got to say, will you?
All right, go ahead and say.
You read the boss all wrong the other day.
Look, I don't read your boss anyway.
All right, simmer down, will you? I know it'll look bad, but Barney isn't really that way.
I suppose he pretended to be frightened just for me.
Frightened? Look, Barney's a guy who's, well, you might say, dedicated to his job. And one of the toughest things we got to do is avoid trouble with the locals when we come through with construction.
Well, he avoided it all right.
You don't think he'd really chicken to a lug like Simpson, do you? Why, I've seen Barney take on 3 like him after the job was done.
After the job was done?
Sure. That's the way he's got to handle things. But now, with you thinking the way you do about him, Barney's so raw he's riding a crew, and that's bad.
You mean it makes a difference to him what I think?
Sure it does.
I guess I seem kind of bloodthirsty to you.
No, you're a dame.
A dame? That's a strange thing to say.
Yeah? Who do you think really looks at the wrestling on TV?
Well, the men turn it on.
Just take a look at the women's eyes while they're watching it. Sure, they protest, but they're watching every move.
Well, we get interested.
Well, I guess it ain't wrong for a dame to want a guy to stand up for her. I better be going.
Thank you for all you've done. Good night.
Good night.
Good evening, General.
Oh, come in, Robert. Come in. Got my injunction?
No.
What do you mean, no? How long is it going to take you?
You know, General, I've been sitting in my office all afternoon, trying to work up enough courage to come here tonight and face you.
Face me? Well, I don't understand it. Sometimes people act as though I were a holy terror.
You just strike that word holy and you've got it.
You couldn't find a more gentle soul than I am, a veritable lamb.
All right, my gentle soul. I didn't get out your injunction because I don't intend to.
What? What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Would you say that you are now roaring like a lamb?
Well, I didn't say that I don't get excited, perhaps. Proceed with your explanation.
All right. It's a short one. General, I've been your lawyer and your friend for 20 years. But now I think you're completely in the wrong. I don't want any part of it.
That's plain speaking, Robert.
Well, some of the people in this town are getting worked up over that bridge in a very unpleasant way. There could be trouble. A great part of it could be your fault.
Mine?
Oh, come now, General. You know you're a leader here. The people look up to you. I don't have to remind you of the responsibility of command.
A lawyer can quote military regulations for his own benefit.
General, do you remember in the early training days, just before we got into the war, some of the regiments held maneuvers in and around town?
What about them?
Many people objected quite violently at the time.
Yes, the darndest thing. Here we were training men to defend them, and all they could think about was...
Your men were doing the job they were ordered to do. And yet many people hollered because it inconvenienced them.
You almost had me there, Robert.
What?
There is a similarity, a superficial similarity, but the two situations are not alike. You can't compare this bridge with the operations of the United States Army.
Oh, no, of course you can't see it now because you're on the other side of the fence. Or in this case, the bridge.
Perhaps, but I still do not see it.
Well, I hope you do, General, before it's too late. A thing like this could get out of hand, you know.
Thank you for your frankness, Robert.
I'm just sorry it wasn't more effective. Good night, General.
I thought I heard Mr. Gregg.
He was here, but he left.
General, I've discovered that I've been terribly wrong about something, and, well, I'll have to go over to the bridge and apologize tomorrow.
A surrender?
No, you might call it a tactical retreat. Oh, I was wrong enough, but I'm not going to let him know that until after we're married.
Thank you, Debbie.
For what?
All my life, I wondered if women did this sort of thing purposely or if it just happened.
Didn't, did you?
The supply barge? No. Robert phoned me about it.
Everyone in town thinks you did it, or at least had something to do with it.
They have every right to suspect me. Debbie, this was a low, sneaky, cowardly trick. And it distresses me to think that whoever did it probably feels I'll back him up.
But who could have done it?
I don't know. But by the oath of allegiance, when I find out, I'll... Now, what's the use?
But you're not going to quit now. You didn't teach me to strike my colors when the going got rough.
There's no way to evaluate the situation. Whoever did this knows it's not going to stop the bridge going through. They'll simply bring up a new supply barge. But it's going to give your Barney a black eye, and that proves there's personal spite in it.
Personal spite?
There must be. And how are you going to guess who it is?
I think I know. Now what I need is a plan of campaign.
Von Clausewitz says it's the duty of G2 to evaluate the information and then transmit the evaluation to the commanding officer.
Yes, sir.
Debbie, transmit the information.
Sorry, General, but as of soon from now, I hope to have a new commanding officer.
Either you like to hang around where people insult you, or you just have no sense at all. Which is it?
I'm not going to lose my temper. Look, you have a right to be angry, but you've no right to take it out on me.
Either you or someone in your family has given me a little cause.
Oh, if you had any brains at all, you'd know the General couldn't pull a trick like this. When he's against you, he comes right out and says so.
That is true.
And whoever did this knew they couldn't stop the bridge permanently.
So?
So it must be a personal spite against you.
Personal spite? In this town?
Yes.
That's ridiculous. Hey, maybe it isn't so ridiculous. How about giving me a lift into town?
Oh, why don't you let Charlie Noble handle this?
It's my party.
All right.
Let's go. Tom Simpson.
You lost something, Bud?
Yeah. The supply barge.
Well, now ain't that just too bad?
Somebody did a pretty good job. I'm here to find out who.
Cocky little cuss, ain't he? Well, boys, it looks like we're just going to have to accommodate him.
Now, you two coots get over there, or you'll be picking buckshot out of your cavalry wood hides for another week. Come here, Debbie. All right, Bub, you can continue your debate with your friend there.
Give it to him, Tom! Give it to him!
Go on, Barney. Go after him. Come on, Clausewitz says victory is always with the aggressor.
Sit down there and rest.
You will wait.
I'm okay.
Try saying cavalry word. The general uses it all the time.
Cavalry word. That doesn't help at all.
Well, you might say you love me. That could help.
I love you.
And that you want me to marry you.
I want you to marry me.
Well, it's about time.
What's going on here, General?
Situation normal, everything under control.
Well, why don't you let him in?
As the great von Clausewitz once said,
If you can't beat them, join them.
Von Clausewitz didn't say it, but someone did. Never underestimate the power of a woman. We hope you enjoyed our play, friends, as much as you enjoy our product. Schlitz beer. Schlitz is made for enjoyment. Perfectly brewed, perfectly aged, perfectly wonderful. When you drink Schlitz, your thirst can feel the difference. We'll have a bit of a thriller for you next week, starring Arthur Franz, Beverly Garland, and Bobby Driscoll. It's the story of a girl whose life is in danger, and though her natural instinct is to avoid it, she discovers it's too late to run. Until then, this is Bob Page for the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, bidding you a very pleasant good night